Good evening, families and Year 10 students. Thank you for joining us for this Stage 6 course selection launch for the 2028 HSC. My name is Rick Bombardieri. I'm Director of Studies at the College, and I'll be your guide through this presentation this evening. Tonight's launch takes place against the backdrop of some important events at the end of last term. Our Year 10 students completed the Right Journey homecoming, students received their Semester 1 reports, and parent-teacher interviews also took place. Tonight is part of a larger conversation that has begun with study skills evenings, elective nights, and information evenings. It is a conversation that will lead for some students to them walking across the graduation stage in 2 years' time, and for other students it will lead to this being their last semester of school before they enter the workforce. Our purpose tonight is to guide your decisions about making choices for the future. Let's begin with an overview of tonight's sessions. Mr. Brennan will begin this evening with his principal's address. I will then outline the process for course selection. Ms. Morrison will place course selection within the context of teaching and learning. Mr. Duggan will consider making good choices and decisions about different patterns of study. Mr. Bullock will provide insights into achieving an ATAR and going to university. And finally, Mr. Vanchik will explore different career options. Before we begin, please be aware that students will need to register their attendance with the QR code on the last slides of tonight's presentation. Also, the next step of course selection will take place next Wednesday night with our Course Expo. This will begin at 6:30 p.m. in the Brother Luke Hall. Finally, if you have not had the chance yet, it's a great idea to access our course selection website. This site has the information students will need to make successful transitions. As is customary, we will take a moment to acknowledge country and to offer a prayer.
Let us begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of this land, the Dharawal people, and pay our respects to their ancestors and elders past and present. We extend this acknowledgement and respect to all Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander people here today, and your continuing connections to the lands, waters, and communities. We respect the oldest continuous living culture. We are grateful to live, work, and learn on Dharawal country, and we are committed to strengthening our understanding of Aboriginal history, culture, and perspectives.
Let us place ourselves in the presence of the Lord. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Loving God, may the faith you have given us in your Son, Jesus Christ, restore our joyful hope for the coming of your kingdom. May your grace transform us as we look forward for your guidance and wisdom in our course selection journey. Grant us the insight and understanding we need to make the most of our studies. St. Martin and St. Gregory,
Pray for us.
St. Mary, our Mother,
Pray for us.
and let us always remember,
To pray for one another.
in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Well, good evening to parents and current Year 10 students and our graduating class of 2028. Welcome to our Year 11 2027 subject selection evening. Certainly a critical time in you and your son's life as they start to begin to think about what school or what life will look post-school. I'd like to thank all of the staff who are putting together tonight and their different presentations led by Mr. Rick Bombaderi, our Director of Studies, for all of the work they've done and will continue to do in assisting your sons making the right choices. Certainly the theme of my presentation tonight is all about making sure that our boys do make the right choices and use the resources available to them. Back in 2024, we started to look at Year 11 subject selections processes. We're looking at streamlining and making sure that information and the advice given to your sons was both consistent and relevant. So I've certainly streamlined a number of people that will be working directly with your son in order to make these right choices. Another important thing we have done is look at patterns of study. So we're looking at the HSC Plus, which is the more non-academic pathway, involving vocational education and non-ATAR courses, and then purely an ATAR stream as well, where we're looking at those who are looking at post-school study, in particular university and tertiary level. So we do ask that you work very hard with the school and you do take the advice of the school. We have decades of experience when we're providing this advice. So as I mentioned, the process is to make sure the advice is more consistent from people who have been doing this for a long time. Our goal is for your sons to be successful graduates in 2028, and one where they will have 2 years of great excitement, great joy, and great success, mindful of the fact that success looks different for every student. Part of our strategic plan, one of our major priorities over this year and next, is actually having a look at improving student outcomes and creating a culture or further developing a culture of excellence. The key to that is having senior students who are in courses that they can do and succeed very well in. So I do encourage, and I've said it a few times already, that you really work closely with your teachers. This is for the students. Don't pick a subject because your friends are doing it. Don't pick a subject because you think you need to do it to go into the next stage or the next part of the journey of your life. Certainly, there are many different pathways to the end game at the end of Year 12, and it's important that you don't lock yourself into a course or pattern of study that will see you be unsuccessful. So again, it's important that you do have a lot of dialogue with the key people in our school and in consultation with your parents. I still go back to the adage of pick what you like and pick what you are good at, but I also really encourage you to be realistic in your aims and pursuits. So again, thanks for being part of the journey and the process this evening. You'll get a lot of information from a lot of people, but the importance is that we have recorded this. You will be able to go back and watch it numerous times if you are unsure, and certainly a phone call to the college would be welcomed if you would like anything else clarified. So again, I'd ask you to listen to those involved. Thank you for your participation and interest in your sons, and I certainly look forward to working with you and your sons in 2027 and 2028 and watch them having a very successful final senior years. But it all begins with their subject selections, which is the process that has begun tonight. Have a great rest of your evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brennan. My task this evening will be to familiarise you with the nuts and bolts of the course selection process. We will explore the main events over the next few weeks and our recommendations process. Picking up on what Mr. Brennan has just said, evidence tells us that one of the most significant factors for success in Stage 6 is students choosing the right pattern of subjects as well as courses for them. Each year we see the achievements of Year 12 students who have picked their courses well and achieved fantastic results. Unfortunately, we have also seen what can happen when students get things wrong and they're stuck studying courses that have been 2 years of pure struggle. If we get the small things right in the next few weeks, the rest will look after itself. Let's start by looking at key events in our course selection process. Choosing your subjects can feel daunting, but you are not doing this alone. Over the next few weeks, we are launching a series of events specifically designed to unpack your options, answer your questions, and give you confidence in the choices that you will make. Next Wednesday, the college will host a course selection expo beginning at 6:30 p.m. The event will be held in the Brother Luke Hall. There will be stalls where heads of department will have displays for each of their courses. While this event will be much more low-key than the Careers Expo earlier in the year, it will be an excellent chance for you to speak to teachers and ask questions about the courses on offer. On the night, students will pick up a course selection pack that will contain a range of documents. We're expecting all students to be there and dressed in winter uniform. The morning after the expo, our course selection interview bookings will open. These 15-minute interviews are a crucial opportunity for students, parents, and one of our course selection team to sit down together. Taking place online via the Microsoft Teams in week 4, from Monday the 10th to Friday the 14th of August, this event is where we make sure that your son's pattern of study is valid, balanced, and meets all the HSC requirements. Students must come to this interview with their planner completed, including their reserved choices. Your mentor will review these selections, offer insights, and help navigate the approval process if your son is applying for a course outside of standard recommendations. We expect every single student to participate. For our boarding families, this online format is ideal for a seamless three-way conversation. If your son is considering transitioning out of the college and into the workforce next year, your interview will be with Mr. Evanchik. My strong advice for these families is to complete the subject selection process anyway. Unless he has a formal job lined up right now, keeping his subject preferences locked in ensures that your son securely holds his place at the college if his plans change. Bookings will open through our standard parent-teacher interview portal with slots available between 4 o'clock and 8:30 p.m. Once booked, a Teams link will be sent directly to your nominated email. On Monday of week 5, once interviews wrap up, the final phase begins. Every student will receive a personalised, secure email link directing them to their own course application portal. Please do not share this link with anyone else. First, you'll select your primary pathway, either ATAR or HSC+. From there, you will enter your subject preferences in order of importance. The first 2 spots are simple: a religious education course and an English course, both of which are compulsory. You will then select 5 additional main preferences, followed by 3 reserves. Once your subjects are locked in, you'll type your name to digitally sign the page, then save and print the selection receipt. If you change your mind, don't panic. The system allows you to log back in and adjust your choices up to 5 times before the portal closes. The second part of the process is the paperwork. To finalise your application, you must hand in 2 things together to your homeroom teacher: your printed selection receipt and your signed parent permission form. All forms are due by Wednesday the 2nd of September at 8:45 a.m. It would be better to complete your forms a few days early to avoid last-minute internet glitches. If you are absent on the morning of the deadline, ensure your online portal is complete and hand your paperwork to your homeroom teacher when you return. Once your preferences are in, the college does something that many other schools don't. We build our school timetable completely from scratch. We don't force you into pre-existing groupings. Instead, we use an algorithm designed to give the most number of students their highest preferences. At St. Greg's, we pride ourselves on offering a broad range of courses and keeping our class sizes smaller than many other schools in the area. But like every school, we have structural limits. Our timetable runs on 7 lines, meaning 7 blocks of subjects happening simultaneously. If 2 of your choices land on the same line, or if a course you choose doesn't get enough interest to run, you will need one of your reserves. My strongest advice to you is that you need to research your reserves thoroughly. Make sure they are subjects you are genuinely willing to study, because while half of our students will get their exact preferences, a significant portion will need to pull from their reserves. Because of how course selection works, the order of your preferences is doubly important. First, your ranking tells us which subjects to prioritize when building the timetables. Secondly, if a clash occurs on a line, the system automatically rewards your highest preference. Think of it like a wish list. If you want a specific maths course more than geography, you must rank it higher. Put your absolute favorites at the top. Another factor that may affect you getting into a course is maximum class sizes, which cap out at 24 students, and even fewer for some of our practical vet courses. Occasionally, a class fills up completely, but there aren't quite enough students to justify opening a second class. When we hit this sort of a roadblock, we have a very clear, fair priority system to decide who gets the spot. Firstly, HSC Plus students are preferenced for designated HSC Plus courses. Secondly, we preference students who have attended all our information sessions, including this evening and next week's expo, and who submit their paper forms on time. Thirdly, the higher you are ranked for the subject on your preferences, the higher your priority will be. And finally, if we still have a tie, we look at your semester 1 report, factoring in both academic performance and your consistent effort, as well as your marks. If you miss out due to a full class, this is where those well-researched reserves step in. In week 4 of next term, your son will receive his final course offer. For the vast majority of you, that is the end of the journey, and classes will begin at the start of next year. For the handful of students who find that multiple chosen courses aren't running, don't worry, we'll sit down and work with you individually to find a solution. However, once the final time offers are published, we cannot adjust the broader grid or change the lines. Altering the timetable at that stage for one student would cause a domino effect, causing dozens of other students to lose their top preferences. If your son simply changes his mind down the track, there is a formal course change process that opens at the end of this year and runs until week 2 of next year, at which point senior subjects will be locked in. Ultimately, great decisions rely on great information. At the end of last term, we sent out the link to our course selection website. It is packed with detailed videos and resources for every single subject. If you haven't explored it yet, please make it a priority. Our students will also be diving into these videos during their pastoral care sessions over the coming weeks to ensure they are fully informed and ready to choose with confidence. Now that we've walked you through the mechanics of how and when to submit your choices, let's talk about the actual strategy behind what you should choose. A perfect digital submission doesn't mean much if you've locked into the wrong subjects. That is exactly why the college has built a comprehensive recommendation system to give you a data backed blueprint for your specific strengths. Let's look at how these recommendations work. Later tonight, Mr. Duggan and Mr. Bullock will talk about the HSC Plus and ATAR patterns of study. Our first recommendation is around these patterns. We recommend an HSC Plus pattern of study for students who do not need to go to university straight from school, and also for students who receive a GPA of 2.5 or less. If you do not plan to go to university, the HSC Plus pattern provides you with a head start on TAFE and work prospects for the future. From our experience, students who have a GPA of 2.5 or less often find ATAR courses quite challenging. Here is the list of courses we recommend for students who decide on a HSC Plus pattern. Students will need to choose at least 3 courses from the first 2 columns, including English studies. These are called board-developed courses. They will choose Studies of Catholic Thought on the 1-unit course, and the remainder of the courses from column 3. These are content-endorsed courses. Let me make this point clear though. If you opt for an HSC Plus pattern, you will only be able to study the courses on this list. If you wish to study any of the ATAR courses not on this list, you will need to complete a recommendation form. One of the benefits of studying HSC Plus is that you might also be able to avoid having to sit for HSC examinations at all. The highlighted courses on this list have a voluntary HSC exam or no HSC exam component at all. If the student studied English studies, studies in Catholic thought, mathematics standard, and a VET course, and other courses in the third column, they would have no HSC exams if they chose. If they do choose to study agriculture or industrial technology, for example, they would still have a HSC exam in these courses. Particularly for any students planning on an SBAT or TVET course, we would also recommend this pattern of study. You will be missing possibly 1 to 2 days of school per week, and you don't want to be attempting to catch up on work missed in too many ATAR courses. What if I'm not sure about an HSC Plus pathway? If you think you might be better suited to an HSC Plus pattern of study, but you don't want to rule out getting an ATAR, there is still an HSC Plus pattern that you can take. It involves studying 5 board-developed courses. For instance, if you studied English studies, mathematics, 2 VET courses, industrial tech, and studies in Catholic thought, you would still qualify for an ATAR if you did the non-compulsory HSC exams. Your ATAR might not be a strong one, but for a growing number of university courses, you only need to get an ATAR to qualify for those courses. At the other end of the spectrum, we also make recommendations about academically challenging courses. This is because these courses have a high degree of difficulty and are much more challenging than Stage 5 courses. Our recommendation system seeks to ensure that students who choose these courses will have every chance of success because they have prerequisite ability and knowledge to manage these courses. Even students attempting the highest level of mathematics in Year 10, for instance, will find physics difficult. This is also the case for advanced and extension mathematics. English Advanced and English Extension are also tougher than Year 10 English. Students are competing against the most intelligent and hard-working students in the state, and if they have not demonstrated the work ethic or the ability in Year 10 to achieve top grades, they will find it difficult to compete in Stage 6. While we want our top students to engage in these courses, and these courses are rewarding in terms of an ATAR result, it is more achievable for students who have not yet demonstrated their ability or diligence to succeed in other ATAR courses. It is true that some of the Sandstone universities still have prerequisites for specific courses. However, this is becoming less and less the case. So, it is important for students to do their research before attempting courses against the recommendations that we set out. In many cases, even if students don't do a prerequisite course, they can do a bridging course at the beginning of university. There are also now so many more pathways to university courses. As always, our advice is for you to do your research. Now, I want to talk about how to structurally set yourself up for success. Stage 6 is a marathon and not a sprint, and a massive part of achieving your best results and maintaining your well-being comes down to balancing your workload. Because of this, the college has developed a few vital recommendations to ensure you don't accidentally overload your schedule. First, for our students aiming for an ATAR, we strongly recommend selecting a maximum of one VET course. While the system allows for more, our data consistently shows that limiting yourself to one VET course is the sweet spot for maximizing your potential ATAR result, as it allows you to decide and dedicate the necessary energy to your traditional academic subjects. For all students, regardless of your pathway, we recommend a maximum of 2 VET courses overall. Why? VET subjects require compulsory structured work placement. If you take a third VET course, you will find yourself spending your school holidays doing work placement just to catch up. We want you to have your holidays to rest and recharge and stay fresh. On a similar note, we highly recommend attempting a maximum of 2 courses with major works. This includes subjects like visual arts, industrial technology, design and technology, and music. These are fantastic, highly rewarding courses, but they require a massive amount of practical time and independent work outside of school hours. Trying to manage 3 major projects at the same time in Year 12 is a recipe for immense stress. By capping it at 2, you give yourself the time and breathing room to produce your absolute best work without sacrificing your other subjects. Finally, a quick tip for our ATAR pathway students. Avoid choosing content-endorsed courses like SLR because these subjects don't contribute to an ATAR. You would ultimately have to drop them at the end of Year 11 anyway. We want every hour you spend studying for the next year to be actively building towards your final goals. In your course selection pack that you will get next week in the expo, there is a document listing the specific courses recommended for your son. As discussed in the information evening earlier this year, this is based on your son's report at the end of last term. So, what if your son wants to study a course that isn't recommended for him? He'll need to follow this process if he wants to study something outside the recommendations. Firstly, he will need to complete a recommendation form. In this form, he will provide a reason for the request and relevant information. This will then be submitted online. By week 3, a form should be submitted even if the student places the course on their reserved list. If a form has not been submitted, the course won't be available on the digital subject selection form. If you are close to achieving the grade, or perhaps there was a very specific reason why your grade was not as strong this semester as last semester, we will consider your application and we perhaps will approve it for study. If not, the next step is for parents and carers to indicate that they want their son to do the course despite the recommendation. We will make you aware of the possible consequences of choosing the course against recommendation. We will also then give the student conditional enrolment in the course and we will monitor their progress. While we want to give students every chance to prove that they can succeed, even if a course or pathway was not recommended, we are only too aware and see each year the consequences of students choosing poorly. Sometimes no amount of tutoring or extra work by the student and their teachers will enable success in a course. The converse of this is that we have seen students who have remarkable success in other courses. They have then gained a good ATAR and gained confidence in courses where they can show their strengths. Remember, balancing your workload is about making sure the program you choose truly fits who you are. While the college offers a massive array of subjects on campus, we also want to support students who have unique passions. If you are looking to study a specific language or another specialized course not offered here, you can pursue this through distance education. If that sounds like the right fit for you, please pick up an expression of interest form at the Expo next week and make sure it is submitted by Wednesday, week 7. To bring everything together, the next few weeks are a critical window for shaping your future at the college and beyond. We have laid out a clear roadmap to guide you through this process, so please keep these milestones in mind. Next Wednesday is the Course Selection Expo in the Brother Luke Hall. This is your chance to ask questions and collect your selection pack. Week 4, August 10 to 14th, is the online course selection interviews with your dedicated mentor. Wednesday, September the 2nd at 8:45 a.m. This is the final deadline for both your digital submission and signed paper forms. Our recommendation system is not about closing doors, it is about opening the right ones. Whether your future lies in an ATAR pathway, an HSC plus pattern, or transition to the workforce, the goal is exactly the same: to choose a pattern that plays to your unique strengths, challenges you productively, and avoids unnecessary struggle. This is an incredibly exciting milestone, Year 10. You are stepping into the driver's seat of your own education. You have a phenomenal support network of teachers, coordinators, mentors, and family members, all ready to help you navigate these choices. Take the time, do your research, use the resources on our website, and choose with confidence. We look forward to working alongside you to build Stage 6 programs that unlock your full potential and set you up for a bright, successful future. Now I will pass you on to Mrs. Morrison.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here tonight, albeit remotely. My name is Judith Morrison, and my role here at the college is Director of Teaching and Learning. Tonight is an important night as it is the first stage in planning your son's senior years here at St Gregory's College, and hence our aim is to help your son begin thinking strategically and positively about their future. This evening is an opportunity to pause and reflect on what's ahead. It's a chance for students to start imagining their futures, families to have meaningful conversations about what are the next steps, to consider what options lie ahead, and to start making informed and thoughtful decisions. It is also worth remembering that the end of Year 10 also marks the end of compulsory schooling in New South Wales. From this point on, education is about preparing for life beyond school, whether that be university, TAFE, apprenticeships, or employment. There are 3 distinct possibilities for our young men after Year 10. Some may finish formal schooling at the end of this year. Many will continue into Year 11 and 12. This may be through an ATAR pathway aimed at university entry or a HSC Plus pathway, which combines school-based learning with vocational or workplace training. Whichever path is chosen, it is important to understand that it will involve more independence, increased expectations, and new learning opportunities. Year 11 is a big step up, but it is also a rewarding one. The world our students are stepping into is rapidly evolving. Gone are the days of a job for life. The next generation will likely have multiple careers across very different industries. They'll need to adapt, retrain, and continually grow, not just once, but throughout their lives. Our responsibility is to help them build the confidence, mindset, and skills needed to navigate the future with agility and purpose. So, what does the future workforce demand? More than just knowledge, employers are looking for people who can solve problems, manage themselves and their time effectively, collaborate effectively with others, and use technology fluently. But perhaps most importantly, they'll need to know how to learn. That means being flexible, resilient, and ready to acquire new skills, whether that's on the job, in further study, or in an entirely new industry. Today's workplaces are more skilled than ever. Around 1 in 3 workers now hold a bachelor's degree or higher, and over 70% of jobs require some form of post school qualification. At the same time, there's growing demand in the trades and technical fields, especially in areas like electrical work, plumbing, and carpentry. So, whether your son is aiming for university, TAFE, or an apprenticeship, the message is the same. Qualifications matter, and planning ahead is essential. Continuing into Year 11 opens doors, not just academically, but also personally. It provides access to school based opportunities like leadership, sport, co curricular activities, and service. It enhances career prospects with more pathways into skilled trades, tertiary study, or direct employment. It also leads to the HSC, a credential that's respected and recognised across Australia and beyond. We're very proud to be shaping what we call the St Gregory's Agile Graduate, someone who is adaptable, values driven, and ready to make a difference. Stage 6 learning, Year 11 and 12, is a significant change from Stage 5. Students have more choice than ever, with 37 courses on offer across a wide range of disciplines. Courses are more career focused with clear links to post school options. We emphasise strong relationships and expectations between students and teachers. Our goal is to ensure the right student is in the right course, because when a student is engaged and challenged, their contribution truly matters. Subject selection isn't about choosing what seems easiest or most popular. It's about reflecting on your talents and strengths. What are you good at? Your motivation and interest. What do you enjoy learning? Your future aspirations. What do you want to do beyond school? The best subject choices are ones that align with who you are now and who you hope to become when you complete school. Sometimes students make choices for the wrong reasons. So let's be clear. There are things to avoid when choosing subjects. Do not choose subjects because your friends are doing it. Don't choose subjects because you think it might scale better in the ATAR. And don't choose a subject because you think or believe it will be easy or require less effort. These decisions often lead to disengagement and disappointment. Instead, encourage your son to choose courses that genuinely suit his goals, skills, and interests. In closing, thank you again for taking time to support your son in this important journey. Senior study is not just about exams or results, it's about becoming independent, resilient, and purposeful. We're here to help you make confident, informed decisions, ones that will set your son up for success in Year 11, Year 12, and beyond. Thank you again, and we look forward to partnering with you on the road ahead.
Thank you, Mrs. Morrison. Good evening, parents, carers, and students of Year 10. My name is Glenn Duggan, and I'm the Stage 5 Academic Care Leader here at St Gregory's College. In the next section, I'll be guiding you through the key decisions that our young men must make as they explore the different options in their journey, whether that be transitioning to work, completing vocational education and training opportunities, seeking out a HSC, or obtaining an ATAR.
As a Year 10 student, You are probably starting to think about what's next. These questions help frame that decision. Are you thinking about work or training? Or do you see yourself continuing at school? And if so, what do you want to achieve? We will help you answer these questions tonight. You will need to decide whether you're heading towards a ROSA, HSC, or aiming for an ATAR and university entrance. Each of these paths are valid. It's about choosing what suits your skills, interests, and career aspirations. Let me clarify the differences. The ROSA is for those who leave school before the HSC. The HSC is the core senior qualification in New South Wales, and the ATAR is a rank used by universities to select students. Knowing what you want to do post-school helps guide which of these achievements to aim for. If you are planning to leave school before completing the HSC, you will receive a ROSA, the Record of School Achievement. It's essential to have a clear plan, such as employment or training. The HSC requires passing the minimum standards test, completing all my own work, and studying the required number of units. You'll need at least 12 units in Year 11 and 10 units in Year 12, including at least 6 board-developed courses and English and religion. To be eligible for an ATAR, you must meet all HSC requirements and complete at least 10 units of board-developed courses. It's worth noting you can now qualify with more than one VET course, depending on the course structure. This slide compares two broad pathways, the HSC Plus and ATAR. If university isn't your goal, there are fantastic career and training opportunities through practical courses. If university is your goal, then you'll need to select more academic courses that contribute towards your ATAR. The HSC Plus focus is designed for students heading into trades, TAFE, or direct employment. You'll gain valuable skills, complete work placements, and even earn TAFE credentials. These are practical, hands-on subjects that build your employability. We recommend the HSC Plus pathway for students not planning to go to university straight from school. It is also ideal for those students with a grade point average below 2.5 or those interested in school-based apprenticeships. It allows for success through a more applied, vocational model of learning. VET courses are a core part of the HSC Plus pathway. They include subjects such as business services, construction, fitness, hospitality, and primary industries. You'll learn through competencies, gain real-world experience, and only sit HSC exams if needed for your ATAR. For students with university goals, you'll need to choose subjects that align with the ATAR pathway. This includes board-developed courses and higher levels of English and mathematics. It's about developing academic skills and a coherent study plan for your preferred course.
Mr. Stephen Bullock, the Stage 6 Academic Care Leader, will now explore different ATAR options in the next section.
Thank you, Mr. Duggan. Good evening, parents, carers and students. My name is Mr. Stephen Bullock. I'll be your Academic Care Coordinator for years 2027 and 2028. This evening, I'll be discussing all things ATAR with you. That is, the Australian Tertiary Admissions Rank. And if you have any questions surrounding any part of this presentation, please feel free to contact me at any time. The ATAR, or Australian Tertiary Admissions Rank, is a number between 0 and 99.95 that indicates a student's position relative to all other students in their year group. It is a rank, not a score or percentage, and it's used by universities and other tertiary institutions to help select students for their courses. UAC, who calculates the ATAR, uses the comparison of 70,000 students running the City to Surf. At the finish line, you receive a rank in the HSC race. Not all students receive an ATAR, but of those that do, approximately half will receive an ATAR above 70.
The steps on the slide outline the process for ATAR calculation. We do not have time this evening to discuss scaling in detail, however I will outline the basics on the next slide and cover this in our academic care sessions. As you can see, the most important aspect from a student's perspective is to achieve their best in each course in their school-based assessment tasks. These are used to determine the ranks in each course, which are critical for determining the final HSC marks awarded at the end of the Year 12 examinations. It is important to note that not all subjects are created equally. Some subjects scale far better than others when calculating a student's ATAR. As you can see from the graphic, if a student was to achieve an HSC mark of 80 in Standard Mathematics 2, they would expect an ATAR equivalent to approximately 77. However, the same mark in Mathematics Extension 2 would equate to an ATAR of approximately 97. This is not to say that your sons should choose the most difficult courses because they scale more favourably. As mentioned, the ATAR is a rank. So should you be at the bottom end of your course by rank, your ATAR would reflect this. The difference in ATAR is reflective of the difficulty of the course. Furthermore, if you were to receive a mark of 80 in a course, but 40% of the state receives a mark higher than this, your ATAR would be 60, because you have only beaten 60% of the state. Scaling adjusts raw HSC marks to account for differences in subject difficulty and the academic calibre of students taking each course. The goal is to make the ATAR a reliable indicator of a student's overall academic achievement, regardless of the specific subjects they studied. Students should choose subjects they believe they will do best in, according to their own capabilities. In senior schooling, study should be your highest priority. You will find that course content and the speed that we move through it is a lot faster than your junior years. It is essential that you build early study habits to stay on top of coursework, or you will quickly fall behind. The college has high academic standards, and your teachers will hold you to these. In my role as academic care leader, I will also reinforce these through our PC sessions and work with individual students. NESA has minimum requirements that need to be satisfied to progress through the preliminary course, and these expectations will be made clear to students. Course mastery, within the context of learning, refers to a student's deep and thorough understanding of all the concepts and skills within a specific course. It signifies that a learner has achieved a high level of proficiency and can confidently apply their knowledge and skills across various situations related to course content. In essence, it's about achieving a level of expertise where the learner can demonstrate not just a basic understanding, but also a comprehensive grasp of the subject matter. For students to achieve a Band 6 or 90 plus score, they will need to demonstrate this consistently. As previously mentioned, the rank in each course is the most important aspect when determining final HSC marks and ATARs. At the end of Year 12, students sit the HSC examinations and will receive a transcript with 3 marks for each course on it. The first is their own HSC exam mark, how they have performed in their exam. The second is the moderated assessment mark, and the third, and the most important, is their final HSC mark, which will be the average of the 2 prior marks. The reason your rank is so important is because the student with the highest rank at the end of the course will receive the highest marked HSC exam score from that class or cohort as their moderated assessment mark, regardless if that was their own mark or not. This is the reward for the efforts throughout the course and means if you do not perform at your absolute best in the HSC exam, but another member of your class does, it will lift your final HSC exam mark above where it would otherwise have been. Likewise, if a student is ranked at the bottom of the course, their moderated assessment mark will come from the student who received the lowest exam mark. As you know, English is compulsory and will count towards your ATAR, which is then calculated by taking your best 10 units, including English, and could mean that if you are carrying 12 or 13 units by the end of Year 12, one course or subject will not be used to calculate your ATAR. The majority of students will drop a course at the end of Year 11 that they are not performing well in or ranked lowest in. Before this decision is made, please see me to ensure that you are making the correct choice.
If you have 11 units going into the HSC, it may mean that your lowest contributing course will only count for 1 unit of the 10 rather than 2. It is important to choose subjects that give a good balance to your interests. For example, if writing is your strength, then perhaps advanced English and some HSC or HSIE courses would appeal to you, as many of these involve extended responses and play to your strength. If mathematics is your strength, then speaking to Ms. Giles about the correct course and looking at subjects such as physics or chemistry would align well. Choose courses that you are recommended for and those that you have the best chance of performing well in.
Thank you again for joining us this evening. As I mentioned, if you have any questions, please feel free to email or tell the boys to come and see me in my office with any questions. I will now pass you on to our Head of Careers and Transitions, Mr. Michael Ivanchik.
Thanks, Mr. Bullock, and welcome parents, carers, and young men of Year 10. For those that don't know me, my name is Michael Ivanchik, and I'm the Head of Transition and Careers at St. Greg's. Our first slide outlines some of the large-scale changes which the boys will need to be aware of. The first one being the varied options available to the boys post-school. These include location of work, hybrid work, project-based work, and part-time and casual work. We are moving into an era where full-time employment will not be the norm. The next change is that of the expectations of business and industries of employees. These include maintenance of skills and learning, adaptability to change, and the need for employees to be self-directed learners. I touched on the third point here, which is really important, as the data is indicating that the average Gen Z will have up to 7 different careers in their life. Yes, that's right, 7 different careers. A rapid pace of technology change will mean that Gen Z will need to be native technology users who will be adaptable to all the new technologies in work and in life general. Tertiary institutions, employers, and all levels of government are looking into and providing alternate pathways into meaningful work to cater for these and many more dynamic changes in the workforce of the future. Here is a direct quote and some statistics from the Future of Jobs report from the World Economic Forum. And as you can read up there, the average Year 10 student today is likely to have jobs that don't yet exist, use technologies that haven't been invented, and require skills that schools have traditionally never taught. We look down the bottom there, 22% of jobs will be transformed by 2030, 39% of current skills will become obsolete, 59% of workers will require retraining, and 40% of employees expect AI-driven workforce reductions. So amidst all this information that you've been provided, there are many questions, and arguably the most important question is, how do I help my son become adaptable enough to thrive in constant change? So you're probably asking, where do I start? Well, this is the way I would actually approach this next generation of work life. Step 1. First, look at what inspires you. Is it a person, a need in life, your community requirement, or is it a goal which you have been thinking about which lights a fire in your belly? It seems like a motherhood statement. Follow what inspires you. But boys, you'll be working for 30 plus years of your life. This is the time to get inspired and chase a dream. Step 2. What are you good at? Is it keeping court with your friends? You're a people person. Is it solving any kind of problem that presents itself to you? You might then be a budding engineer. Or do you like to think a lot about people and how they're going? You should look at a career in health where you're taking care of people. Boys, you all have something that you are good at, which you could and should lead to something meaningful. Next is, what do you like to do? Is it sport? Many pathways into sport that don't require you to be a professional athlete. Do you like to be outdoors and working with your hands? Then doing a trade might be suitable. If you can find a marriage or a connection between what you are good at and what you like, you won't work a day in your life. Step 3. What trends are coming through? Here are a few to consider. We're in a deficit of housing and a shortage of trades. Good tradespeople will flourish in the future. We are in an aging population that have financial means. A career in the health sector or financial services will be in demand. With a more complex society and work environment, an aging teacher population, and a need for a highly skilled and trained workforce, a career in teaching is a pretty safe bet. My point here is know and understand the data in society and work to help carve out a meaningful and long standing career. Step 4, explore. Keep looking, asking questions, seeking clarification, and observing. Sometimes the answers to your search might be right in front of you, or sometimes you might have to spend time to get to a point where you are confident in your direction. And as Steve Jobs famously stated, don't settle till you have the answers and the direction. One of your goals is to try and future proof yourself as much as possible. So, what does this look like? Know what employers are looking for. First one is the qualifications and skills. Get what you need to get into a career of your choosing. Be careful to not overqualify yourself for two reasons. While you're gaining more and more qualifications, the employment market is moving and might just move beyond you. Secondly, employers nowadays are looking to hire just as much on attitude as qualifications and are happy to take on a lower qualified, perfectly matched employee who is a perfect match to the company's culture. Also, a large proportion of employers are happy to pay for you to get further qualifications that match exactly where they see you in the future in their organization. Experience and skill trumps most qualifications. If you can show that you have successfully worked in the industry you are applying, it is worth gold to your employment prospects. Skills attainment is your fast track into work and progression within your career. And finally, as I mentioned, your personal qualities, which so important to put you above all the other candidates applying for the same job. There is a famous HR quote, hire for attitude, train towards qualification. So how can St. Greg's prepare you for the future? In my role, there are 5 distinct areas that I may be of assistance. Firstly, all the university applications and pathways and understanding how to access them, you can actually get through me. TAFE and the myriad of different pathways and courses in TAFE, I can also help you with. And if you're looking at a school-based apprenticeship, that's also something that we allow in the school and encourage, and I can actually help you with. There are an enormous amount of VET courses that we can actually facilitate in the college, and your son and boys, you will get a lot of career skills training from me during the year next year. One option is a TVET course, and what a TVET course is essentially a TAFE vocational education training course. And how they typically work is you are at TAFE for 1 afternoon per week, you have work placement, there is an additional fee as we need to pay that to TAFE. The expression of interest, if you are interested in this kind of pathway, needs to be with me by week 8 of term 3. And down there you can see a number of the various courses that TAFE offer within this TVET pathway, some of them being electrotechnology, which is one of the most popular ones, tourism, barbering. We've got 4 current boys doing barbering. There's 3 boys doing property services at the moment. As you can see, a great variety of courses that are on offer. Another varied pathway is a school-based apprenticeship, or what we call an SBAT. And typically how they work is you're able to finish your HSC and gain your HSC. Your structure to your week is 3 days of schoolwork, 1 day of TAFE, and 1 day of work. You need to actually find your own employer, and these need to be into me if you're interested in this pathway by the end of term 3. Please be aware that this is a non-ATAR pathway and shouldn't be considered unless you have the commitment and dedication to following this through, because essentially you are going to be out of school for 2 days and will need to follow up on that work that is missed. Albeit, we actually do modify your timetable to allow for this. Down the bottom there are a list of various SBATs that are available. Again, some of the ones that are currently being utilised by the boys is electrotechnology, automotive, and real estate. We have a number of resources that are provided through the college. The first one being our micro-credential program, which has everything from a white card to motorcycle technician, food handling, RSA, RCG, and barista courses. We then have our careers and jobs Expo, which we annually run every single year, which we have in excess of 120 different exhibitors there, all the universities in New South Wales, as well as TAFE, and an enormous amount of employers looking to educate and inform and provide jobs to our boys. We also have available Steps to University for Year 10 students, which is a UAC published book that I have in my office for the boys to pick up. And there will be an enormous amount of career exploration that the boys will do also with me. Thanks for being generous with your time this evening. Here you can see my contact details if you do want to make contact with me. There's my direct office line there, and there is my email address. I'll now pass over to Mr. Bombardieri, who will conclude the evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ivanchik. I would also like to thank parents and students for your attendance this evening. We appreciate your continued support. Course selection is one of the most important things that your son will do this year, but placing your son in the right courses is also very important to us. Please complete the attendance form, scanning the QR code on the next slide. Can I also remind you about our expo next Wednesday night, and please remember to book into an interview after that. Again, if you need any support during this process, students can speak to their homeroom teachers who have a wealth of knowledge. Please also contact Mr. Duggan for general inquiries and heads of department for specific questions. Mr. Ivanchik is also quite willing to help you with careers support. Again, we wish you the best of luck in this process, and we will see you next Wednesday evening. Have a great evening.